one-on-one news review this morning.
Yes, it's a very wonderful one. It's upfront like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we are sitting like upfront as well.
I am the guest. What's your question?
My question, I'm afraid that you will get all the answers correct. It's fine. My question is, what's on the front page of your newspaper?
Let's start with the Business Finder. It says economy set to remain resilient and achieve robust growth. That's on the front page of that paper, with consolidated gains of year of return. That's the tourism authority speaking. If you heard the 6 a.m. story this morning, that means there's a lot that needs to be done, especially at the various tourism sites across the country. Some of them, and specifically I'll single out the stretch to the Kakum National Park. Me alone, I've heard three different reports on this network. Elsewhere too, Fifi Kumsin has done the reports. Several other reports have been done by Kojunya Aku and every other person that have used that stretch. Kakum is one of our most prestigious tourism sites, and yet the stretch that leads to the place is in a terrible state. Hopefully that will be fixed this year. Now inflation drops 1.5 percent points year on year, and that's according to the Business Finder too. So those are the stories the Finder is presented this morning.
The Daily Graphic will compile credible register EC. NCA did no wrong in regulatory changes. Prof Dodu being the Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority. Men's Gold customers arrested for breaching Public Order Act. About 100 people were arrested yesterday, Raymond. And SIGA, that's the State Interest and Governance Authority, headed by Mr. Stephen Asamoah Boateng, popularly known as Asabi. Yes, they are signing performance contracts with state enterprises. The back page of the Daily Graphic has government provides solar-powered rice mills for farming areas and polio vaccination underway in Ahafo, Bono East and Oti regions.
Now, the New Crusader Guide is reporting this morning prophets in dogfight over 2020 election predictions and gunshots at Namwan residents as police grabs angry customers. TUSAC declares indefinite strike over unpaid allowances, and there's one about the English chief who is called Berima. He's been gazetted, and that's on the front page of the New Crusading Guide. Those are the stories presented today.
The Daily Guide newspaper has Men's Gold customers, Men's Gold clients, Storm Namwan's house. That's what we brought you from the front page of the Daily Graphic. NDC macho man found dead. The picture is there. Linford Owo. Police hunt the contract killers, and girlfriend killer for court. The back page has an interesting story in the sports world. Gusa games gather momentum. University of Ghana doing very well there, Raymond.
Yes,
I would be happy to hear that.
Which is not surprising.
Look, you have no contribution. You have never had any contribution in the past, so don't be making that noise.
I used to play rugby for Legon Hall. I'm stating on record. You can cross-check. George Adujina will back this particular claim.
No, listen.
With sufficient.
There are levels of playing rugby. Do you mean you wore the uniform and you sat on the bench, or you played when you were asleep and you were dreaming? Like, what does? Did you actually go on the field?
Yes, of course.
Hey, so you definitely.
Anyway, the Ghanaian Times is reporting this morning that woman in court for allegedly cutting the hostel manager throat, and that's at the front page. 4 NIA officials and other arrested for alleged registration offences, and the IGP is speaking. Says we will deal with corrupt police personnel. At the performance contract signing ceremony that you made reference to, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana says inefficient state-owned enterprises to go to the private sector. I wanted to add inefficient ministries ought to go to the private sector too, but really.
Are you trying to say that there are some ministries whose job can be done by a very, very smart company out there?
A one-room private office. It can be done. The entire ministry's work can be done by
I shudder to ask which ministry you are.
If you want me to proceed in that direction,
you can name
I will
one.
do so boldly. Like the
Explain and give 2 examples.
Like the Special Development Initiative Ministry, the Ministry for Business Development, for example.
But the Special Development Initiatives, they coordinate the development authorities. So which one do you want to move to the private sector?
Yeah, I'm saying that a single room can coordinate the development authorities with a single person involved, for example. Now, let me give you some very terrible news. You know that not long ago last year, in April, we celebrated 10 years for the eradication of polio.
Yes, I remember.
Now, the Ghanaian Times is reporting this morning that polio has been recorded in 3 regions, 2 already dead, 1 in critical condition. So the last year's 10-year success, we basically are eroding it in a matter of weeks. That's on that's on page 10 of the Ghanaian Times. And there's also another interesting development. The president didn't air in swearing in CJ on holiday. You know, people were complaining that you gave us holiday when we are sleeping at home, then you go to work and go and swear in the Chief Justice.
Isn't this against the law?
That's what people are alleging. But the chairman of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee is actually stating categorically that is not an error on the face of the law. Anyway, the Supreme Court has not pronounced on that yet.
You know, I was interested when you mentioned the polio story because there are vaccinations going on. I just mentioned on the back page of the Daily Graphic that they are for Bono East and Oti region. So it looks like we are going to have to step up efforts to fight this one again. And the Ghana Health Services has already started that. But the Daily Statesman has some good news. Takra reports records marked increase in traffic. United for Growth We Stand. President urges Nigeria to help tackle trade and border problems. And Tescon at 20 to storm Volta. Okay, the graphic showbiz is also here. It has our friend Lexi the comic who joined us earlier this week.
Yeah,
on the
Ghana's most prestigious comedian, according
to Raymond Daka.
He stated it here too, and I back that claim without.
You fully endorse it.
Yeah.
Okay. Obi Amponsa is standing with him in the picture. The caption is, "We are always bullied. Ghanaian comedians open up." Back to music for my fans, Ms. V, and Strictly Rap hard to sell in GH. Frida Rhymes. Let me begin, Raymond, with a story that dominated the news bulletins yesterday. The Men's Gold customers besieged the residence of Nana Mensah, who is CEO of the Embattled company, and there were hundreds of them there. They simply went to demand their monies. A number of them spoke to us. Raymond, very passionate accounts. There was this woman who spoke to Komla when he was there, and she told him that she doesn't even want to mention the amount of money that she's owed because her heart, and she kept on touching her chest like, my heart. It really, really moved me when I was listening to that. But a number of them were arrested, unfortunately. About 200 customers went to the residence of the CEO of Nana Mensah, and about 100 of them were arrested. The exact number was 90, according to the Daily Graphic, page 16. The customers apparently came from all over the country. Some came from Kumasi, some came from Takwa, some came from here in Accra. Now, the lawyers for the customers are following up at the offices of the Accra Regional Police Command, where their clients have been taken in a bid to secure bail for their clients. Of course, they say that the arrest is because the demonstration was illegal. They did not inform the police, and they did not go according to the Public Order Act. So on Monday, another aggrieved customer of Men's Gold, Nana Kisi, was arrested after he had allegedly threatened Namwan on an Accra-based radio station. He was questioned at the Criminal Investigations Department, CID headquarters in Accra. Now, this demonstration follows Nana Kisi's arrest, and Men's Gold is claiming that some of these customers have been paid already. However, none of these customers have come forward as of yet. Some people have demanded that if you have paid these customers, let us know who they are, because we operate in organized groups and none of our members have told us that they have been paid.
And of course, Men's Gold is also indicating 200 have been paid so far. So we can just do a poll on Facebook. If you have been one of those people paid, just let us know how you were paid and all of that. The entire system is murky, and let's be clear, why can't an institution of state supervise these payments so that people can believe that we can have, because when Men's Gold referenced that their lawyers will go to the payment, the lawyers wrote and said, please, we are not part of this process, choose another grouping to do so. I think it's become like the investors in quotes and the Men's Gold people alone. I feel it's a bit unfair to some of these people because, one, they want their monies. This conversation has been had consistently. There's always promise that we will pay. That promise never materialized. And from the look of things, it will take 2 years for all of them to get their monies now. The understanding we are having is that the people don't believe the promise that has been given. They actually believe it's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
And that what they are being told is a ploy to get away with their monies and all of that.
It's also because they haven't seen the evidence of these 200 people who have been paid, like I was saying earlier. So it will also help Men's Gold
to publish the list.
Exactly. They publish the list.
Just let's know the people that have paid. After all, now the people who owe you, we know them all the time.
Exactly.
Some are hiding though, but you know. Now, let me bring you a story of 4 NIO officials and another that have been arrested for alleged registration offenses. So these officials are not first. There's Kenneth Osafo Boateng, who's a commissioner for oath at the Church of Christ Registration Center in Inampon, in Asante Mampon area, and Ransford Omane Osei, who's a mobile registration workstation officer at Empowerment Registration Center near Ejuso. Now, Digaft Osemensa, supervising registration officer at Kentin Krono MA Registration Center at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and Emmanuel Eduso Epoku, district registration supervisor, also at the same Kentin Krono MA Registration Center. So all of these gentlemen were arrested between the 3rd and the 6th of this year as a result of joint efforts between the NIO officials and some aggrieved citizens in the Ashanti region. You know that many have complained in the Ashanti region that I go to join the queue, long queues, I never get a chance to go through the process. Some also say that I went through the process, but I'm still yet to retrieve my cards. As for that one, it's actually in a crowd too, and the consistent claims are being made to look like some people always get preferential treatment. Some people are being treated like, even in that queue, they ought to be, what they call it, given some protocol list one way or the other. Now, 14 students of the school were also arrested on Monday for interrogation, and checks by the Ghanaian Times has revealed that the NIO officials were contracted by management of the school to undertake the exercise. That's where the difficulty was. When interrogated, the student told the police that the NIO officials came to the school at 7 p.m. in the evening to register them for the Ghana card, but the students, however, denied having paid any money to the NIA officials. Meanwhile, a statement signed by the head of corporate affairs at the NIA, ACI Francis Pamdetti, has indicated that the named suspects have been granted a police inquiry bail as part of the investigations, and management, I'm quoting them, of NIA is satisfied following administrative procedures that the conduct of the aforementioned registration officials is in breach of the relevant provisions of the Public Service Code of Conduct. And it proceeds to say that management has further determined the said conduct also constitutes an egregious violation of applicable internal rules and regulations governing the conduct of NIA officials. Accordingly, the executive secretary of the NIA, who is our guest this morning, distinguished Professor Kenneth Ajimanatefa, has directed the immediate dismissal of the said officials. The statement further indicated. So they've been dismissed. They're also being dealt with on one hand, and the matter is being dealt with. I think these and other actions may put some confidence in the registration system, especially in the Ashanti region. There's a lot of problem.
I must say,
I know, for example, Fred Smith has registered a long time ago, but he has not gotten this card.
As soon as I announced
every morning he complains.
As soon as I announced the NIA, Fred just ran here and he was showing me. He said that apparently there's a collection point for every area, for every electoral area, and then he's been there every day. There's a box of cards where the people are not coming for the cards, and there's a queue of people whose cards have not come yet. So there's a bit of an imbalance. But Prof. Kenatefa will be joining us to answer all your questions, and please send them in on 0244 340437 at Joy997FM is the Twitter handle. Joy99.7 FM is the Facebook page. Remember, the hashtag is JoySMS. Now, I'm gonna just read this one very, very quickly. Good morning, Daniel. I'm a field staff of NIA. I can tell you for the fact that the NIA management is part of the cause of some field officials taking bribe. NIA has not paid our December salaries as at now, and also owes some field workers about 3 months arrears. Some of us are working with empty stomachs, and those who can't stand the difficult situations are indulging in bribery in the field. From Simon, Commissioner for NIA. Simon, there is no excuse for breaking the law. This is not tenable in the courts at all. And so please don't condone bribe taking. If your salary is not there, you can call your official and tell him that even if you can't work at all, it's better than for you to say that.
So how did he deal with the Bronya? Even those of us who had December salary.
Raymond, people are still replying me from yesterday.
Oh yes,
what we asked how much is left. Oh, some of the things that I'm seeing. Someone said that what is left are my thoughts. If I share the thoughts with you, I'm done.
You know, it is when you are losing money, funny, or when you have a little money that you look back into your finances and say, how on earth did I even spend on this one?
You look at a pair of shoes and you hate.
Yes, really. Who influenced this kind of decision?
Anyways, let's go to the state. Yes, the performance contracts now. SIGA, the State Interest and Governance Authority. It used to be the State Enterprises Commission. It was changed and remodeled after Stephen Asamoah Boateng, popularly known as Asabi, took over. They have signed performance contracts with 80 profit-oriented or income-generating state entities. This was just yesterday. The signings came after the entities has held a round of negotiations with SIGA on their deliverables, terms of performance, with a projection that they could pay about 1.2 billion Ghana cedis as dividend to the state. Very interesting one coming in here. Now, some of these places are regulatory authorities. They are in sectors like trade and agriculture, energy, health, works and housing, rail development, employment and labor relations. So Mr. Asamoah Boateng says we've departed from the State Enterprises Commission era where non-compliance did not mean anything. This time there are heavy penalties ranging from refusal to grant bonuses, financial charges, recommendations to the appointing authority to remove management and board of directors, and prosecution, leading to court fines and jail terms. Raymond, we must say that this is good news to hear that at last people are going to be held to book, because you look at the amount of monies that are being generated. I mean, take a hospital the size of Kolebu. A hospital the size of Kolebu should be a money-making machine.
Yeah.
The question here is that now that they have signed performance contracts, are they going to be given the inputs that they need, the necessary investments, the necessary autonomy to run their services like a private entity? Because if you look at petroleum national oil companies, for instance, a number of the Jubilee partners are just national oil companies for other countries, like Petro SA and what have you. Petrobras, before the Petrobras scandal, of course, was an international behemoth that had invested in so many countries and was worth billions. So are we going to allow them to run as they should run? And the question is, are we going to see this 1.2 billion this year, next year, or when?
Now, at this event, I'm sure you know that 80 state entities signed this particular performance contract. Yes. It includes the New Times Corporation, that's the Ghanaian Times, the paper I'm reading to you. Also, the Ghana Cocoa Board, the GNPC, GHOC. It also includes the Ports and Harbours Authority, State Housing Company, Ghana Airports Company, the Ghana Post. When you mention Ghana Post, GPS comes to mind quickly.
Yes.
I don't remember the last time anybody sent me a letter. I don't know if they forgot it. I still have a post. Ghana
Water, a global phenomenon.
Ghana Water Company Limited, and also the Forestry Commission, the S Commission, the Gaming Commission, the NVTI, and others all signed. Hopefully, this will not be one of the we just do it and let it go. Because we know that as for state institutions, some of them are super incompetent. The individuals may look competent, as in the people who heard them, but the institution is inefficient. You mentioned Kolebu. I cannot, for example, fathom some time ago. I don't know if they have changed the system. All that happens is that the payments, the banks take them. Nobody is verifying whether the banks are actually declaring the right amount or whatever amount supposed to have been these payments. We should be able to get that particular thing verified one way or the other. I cannot see why Kolebu is not fully electronic on every level. That you don't have to personally move from one area to the other, carrying folders. I've seen some private hospitals doing much more efficient work than that. What prevents us
from go to see the doctor?
Yes.
You go for the lab.
Yeah.
And then the lab sends the results to the doctor.
Yes.
In 15 minutes, you go back to the doctor and he tells you what is wrong.
You don't have to go and queue for a lab report, go and do all of those.
And this is our crowd. This is like Ghana. This is not somewhere else.
This is our foremost referral center. So for efficiency, we need it virtually in every corner anyway. But what on that note, the vice president has been speaking that if you are incompetent
at the same event,
if you are incompetent in managing a state-owned enterprise, you give it to private house. That we're no longer going to tolerate the periods where we have to put money into state institutions and yet they are delivering very little. We want to let the private people handle it, and we'll see the results of that.
It's not a bad idea.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
I said that, I propose some ministries should be added to that list. Beyond the ministry, some offices too.
That is mischievous.
And it looks very much like if we don't take care, the entire state may have to be handed over to private hands to deliver, because clearly the evidence suggests that we have failed at delivering on our own.
It's serious.
Yeah. Government run, it's been a very big problem.
But Charlie, the performance contracts model, Raymond, is not bad. Look at all these big multinational hotels. They are not owned by like your international brands, this Marriott and all of these. They are not owned by them. They just come and manage them, and they manage them well.
There's a part of me that says that sometimes we celebrate mediocrity too. This is what we expected government institutions to do all the time: deliver on specific performance contracts and details. Private institutions in this state are giving performance contracts all the time. Why is it difficult for you to do the same in the public end? And why are we always giving people fast salaries and they are receiving very little for it? So please, next time they should not announce it to us. They should just let us know that they are doing the job and give us results of what happens after the performance contracts have been done. Because this is my first time we've heard announcements of we are going to sign performance contracts.
It's serious.
Yeah.
Because I'm not even in management. I'm way below management here in multimedia.
Yeah.
But I've signed my performance
Yeah,
contract.
so
In fact, my evaluation is coming up. Mr. Elvis Kashi.
I can see the man somewhere around.
Elvis Kashi, good morning. You're the best boss in the world.
Yeah, seeking to influence.
Oh, no. I just really like his management.
Yeah, did corruption in
No,
the making.
he's just a very kind man.
Let me bring a very terrible story that's been happening. This happened here in Accra, and this is a woman who's in a hostel. So the owner of the hostel has been trying to get the woman to pay up rent that's expired for a very long time. She's been dodging the woman. She only comes to sleep very late in the night. They wake up she wake up very early and leave. So between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. she's gone. She realized this old woman, to where she sleeps early and wakes up late. So the old man, for the first time in her life, also targeted that I will not let this pass me by. So what happened was that Jessica Bright, who is the person renting the hostel, the old woman decided to target the woman, stayed up late, went in there and said, please give my money. She couldn't provide the money. She decided to sack or evict the woman, first taking her things out with the help of others. Then when she came back to come and remove the woman forcibly from the place, the woman actually had a knife, slashed the throat
Of the hotel owner?
Yes, she's in critical condition as we see, as we've been told. And the report suggests that,
but she's alive.
Yes, she was fighting for her life barely 24 hours ago when the incident happened. The young lady in the last 24 hours also been put before court, and she's being dealt with. The 25-year-old said she was really worried about the situation. In fact, she's pleading not guilty. She said that she had to protect herself because she felt the woman was going to harm her, the landlady. She's also saying that the managing director of the place called Power Plaza, it's a hostel at Kotoko Babi. The managing director of the place had consistently harassed her, but the police is still dealing with this matter, and hopefully we're able to resolve rent issues without some of these problems.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like something that should end up like that. But anyway, Raymond, before I bring you the online review, we made a promise yesterday that we'll stay on the man who allegedly killed his girlfriend in Kumasi.
Yes.
And the update quickly is that the suspect, Edwin Ewuku, who is alleged to have infamously shot his girlfriend in a hotel room in Kumasi, has been charged with murder, and his docket has been sent to the Attorney General's department for advice. He was 42 years old.
Just a second on that. Yesterday I heard a 46-year-old woman who's supposed to be the girlfriend, the daughter, speak on a radio station. She said that she had planned to attend, the woman was supposed to attend her graduation, which is coming up over the weekend or so, and she's so sad that this incident has happened, because this woman is not an outgoing person, and she's dismissing the claim that they had a relationship going on at the time that the incident happened anyway.
It's very unfortunate. May her soul rest in peace. Now, the online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goyle Good Energy. Now, the Ifye promo is still alive, and many like Ibrahim Lukman from Winchi, Benjamin Ochre from Kaswa Iron City, and Abdul Karim Abubakar from Yendi have received 1,000 CDs, 500 CDs, and 300 cedis of free fuel. Others are getting plenty instant rewards. So just drive to any Goil station, buy 100 cedis worth of fuel or more, and for motorbikes 30 cedis or more, get a scratch card, scratch it and dial *161 *4645# and follow the prompt, or go to the App Store, download the Goil promo app, sign up with your phone number and receive a one-time activation code. More rewards are awaiting you. Goil if you're promo. Terms and conditions apply. Goil, your Hall of Fame petroleum company. Goil, good energy. Now, Zenith Bank Ghana Limited wishes all its valued customers a happy and prosperous new year. We thank you for your patronage and support throughout 2019. Thank you for banking with us. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. Angry school feeding caterers picket Ekufado's residents over unpaid arrears. This is on myjoy99.7FM. Please conclude investigations into alleged destabilization plot case. That's the alleged coup. Is on citynewsroom.com, and the bbc.com reports Zimbabwe president takes leave and hands power to deputies. MSM Nangagwa.
Yes, and on the investigation by the police on the coup plot, we are told that it's been forwarded to the Attorney General's office for advice on exactly what to do.
Okay, just like the case of the alleged girlfriend killer.
That's true.
Okay, so that's also another case that we have definitely bring you updates on as and when they break. Stay with us. This is the Super Morning Show. We'll be right back.